Hello, and welcome back to me. How are we all doing today, guys? So we got snow back. I'm very happy about that. I like not to be that guy, but I called it. I did call it. I did. I fully. Most people did. A lot of people did. I called it. I'm very happy. Yeah, I mean, Genie is too good with snow not to be used with snow. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go into my updated deck profile. Couple of changes and some deck choices that I have made that I think are actually quite different to what a lot of people have done with this deck, because a lot of people are going quite heavy on the Magistus engine. I don't like that version of the deck, and I'll go through and explain things the more as I go. But yeah, I'll take you over to the deck profile camera. There we go. Pull the microphone over. Right, so this is the deck profile. Oh, it's all laid out like a nice pattern. Oh, look at that. Yeah, let's get moved over into this and get into the deck profile now. So, as you probably know, and of course, we have one Fairy Tale Snow. The deck, this card does so much for the deck. Actually, one moment, sorry. I've got to have my AC on. I've probably heard that for a bit. Yeah, this card does just so much for the deck. To be fair, I think it is as needed as it was before. However, it does a lot to help with the Fairy Tale matchup, because unless you can consistently destroy things that they summon, that even if you negate them, they can still use them to summon. Whereas this, obviously, they can sort of summon. Get rid of it with Wiccat, summon again. Okay, I'll put 2 of your things in face down. I hope that's enough. Maybe even 3 times. You know, it's doable. So yeah, very happy with Snow being back. It works very well. Fantastic. Still 3 Luna. It's a great starter for the deck. It is a wonderful thing to leave on your end field as well, because it does have that like bouncing effect, which again can be quite useful into Cool Tune depending on what they summon and what circumstances that's around. Yeah, fantastic card. Really, really good. I like it a lot. Works very well. Great starter. One of your best one-card starters. Huge fan. 3 Match Guru. Still on 3. It is a starter. It is a one-card starter, but doesn't get you too much. But it is at least a starter, but it is a fantastic extender. Even if you just draw this plus another Match Guru, that's usually enough to get you going. So yeah, Match Guru is a fantastic card. We have 3 Genie of the Ring, still on 3 of this. This genuinely is the main reason I don't feel as though I particularly need to run the Heavy Magistus engine. Is because one thing, I like to have a lot of non-engine in the deck, and another thing, this card is so good. This card is so insanely good just for extending through plays and doing so much. It's surgeable, it extends you through different plays. It can help to, if anything, help to disrupt your opponent as well if your opponent's gone first instead of a field. It's great. It's just a fantastic card. I love this card. Yeah, huge fan of Genie of the Ring. Onto 3 copies of Spenta. I think probably your best one-card starter in the deck. It's so good. Gets you into everything. It's such a good card. Very versatile. Then just 1 Zoroa and 1 Crowley. I do not run Reliona, and I do not run Jenny, and I don't run the Ver Magic. Now that might sound insane to some people. I don't personally particularly like that build of the deck, the sort of spellcaster combo slot version of the deck, because it relies very heavily on the Magistus stuff and doesn't actually contain a lot of your Fairy Tale stuff. It's all there, but the what I would say, like, I don't know how to put this. I look at the end field of a heavy Magistus engine versus the end field of this deck, which doesn't have that heavy engine. The end field is more or less the same. It's just that I've not searched shifter and roll. That's kind of it. It doesn't do much differently, to be honest. It doesn't do a lot different than that, and I'm not playing the annoying brick that is Jenny. And I'm also not playing the 3 cards that, if your opponent doesn't interact with you, if you've drawn Jenny, are also bricks, that being their magic. So I understand that's a somewhat more niche situation. However, it's kind of true. If you top deck Jenny and you don't have any interaction from your opponent, you kind of can't use their magic very well. If you can somehow get Jenny into the graveyard, it's not as bad. And there are ways of doing that, don't get me wrong. But it becomes much more luck and hand reliant than it is just, hey, I have this card which will consistently do the same thing over and over. So just for the sake of not playing Jenny, I'm not doing the heavy engine. And honestly, it still works fine. I think that the power from this deck comes from the Fairy Tale stuff, because that's where your grind game is as well. The end field you set up, regardless, is still roughly the same, and the grind game is much better if you don't rely too heavily on Magistus, because Magistus doesn't have a grind game. I'll say that outright. There is no grind game in Magistus. The crackback on Magistus is summon Synchro Zeroa and hope for the best. And I know that because I've played Magistus, like almost pure. So there's not really any major grind game you can do with this stuff. It's not as if it's awful. You can do some bits, it's just less good. So I prefer the much more heavy Fairy Tale variant and much less Magistus. Just enough to get you into the engine and use it, but not enough so that your hands are clogged with it. And I prefer more non-engine, but that's just me. This is purely my own preference, obviously. And again, I've mentioned before, this deck is going to change completely in like less than a month, because the Endymion stuff comes out. So we'll get onto that later though. Well, I say got onto it later. I've not tested with it much yet, so I'll get onto it another day. Then we have 3 Ash Blossom, of course. 3 Ghost Spell, I think is so good in this format. I think the only thing it's not that good into is maybe Dooms, but I need to test more into Dooms to even find that out. I think it might be good into Dooms, but I think there are really good either choke points or stopping points somewhere that you can use in everything else where it's quite good. 2 Droll, of course, and 3 Fua. And that is it for the main deck monsters. I actually did toy around with the idea of removing Foalos for a while and putting it just in the side deck, which truthfully I don't know is an awful idea at the moment, because Foalos into... So like 3 of the top decks in the current format are Mitsurugi, Sky Striker, and Cooltoon. Fua, they can all play into Fua very nicely, giving you only like 1 or 2 draws each. They don't really give a lot of draws into Foalos. So that is something I had considered for a while. However, I think in this deck when I'm playing some breakers as well, and if anything into something like Cooltoon, I feel like you do need Mulcharmies if you're playing as a Cooltoon, which you are a lot. And the reason for that is because obviously they can see your hand and see what you're going to top deck. If you've Charmed them once or twice, you will have at least 1 card, hopefully, if they play into it, that they don't know, which can be extremely valuable against them. So that's why I like it against Cooltoon, and against most things. Oh, that's side deck, what I'm looking at that for. Spells now. There's no traps in this deck. Spells, 3 Fairy Tale Ball. This is a 1-card starter. I figured out how to make this a 1-card starter. It doesn't end. It ends on like a half field, but it's still usually plenty enough if you have a handful of non-engine to back that up, obviously. So yeah, this is a 1-card starter. It's not enough for me to want to run Terraforming because that plays too heavily into Droll. And on top of that, it's so searchable. And also there's the fact that I can't, again, non-engine space, when I have all the space for it, and I don't really want... I really like this construction of the deck, so I like everything as is. I will say, I will note, I did put Zeroa down to 1, as you probably saw, and I did have that at 3 before. Zeroa is a 1-card starter. You do get a very good, respectable end field of just Zeroa. However, it is by far your weakest 1-card starter because it's so susceptible to just any interruption. Whereas other stuff, that you can play around a few bits if they're not used properly. So Zeroa is what I cut down to put Snow and something else in. We got 1 Tails of the Fairy Tales, which is an insane card, soft once per turn, extra normal summon, fusion, amazing, almost like a semi-super poly kind of thing. Fantastic card. 1 Once Upon a Fairy Tale, because again, an amazing card. Comes back off of, if he's banished off of the effect of Teller or Snow, wonderful. 1 Instant Fusion. It's Instant Fusion, it's your best 1-card starter in this deck. And 1 Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is... I really like in this deck. It is fantastic extension. It's not a 1-card starter, but it's certainly like a 1.5 card starter. If you top deck it with even just with a Foalos, it will do the job. But yeah, I like it a lot. It's a fantastic extender. Like, you could just normal summon... If you have this and Snow, and your opponent has 1 card in hand, and it's Imperm, normal summon, Imperm, cool, don't care, go with this. And you're actually on a better starter than you were before. So I like this a great deal. We then have, as for non-engine, which I count this, I've said before, it's almost engine. It works so well with this deck, and that's Super Volley, because you can take your opponent's monsters very easily and turn it into something like Teller, and then it's just insane, and you just win at that point. It's absurd. Yeah, it's almost engine in this deck. Not searchable, but it's so good in this deck that I can't not run it. 3 Droplet, I like this a lot in the current format. It's really good into Dooms, from my understanding. It can work well into Elf Note if you back it up with something else. Yeah, it's not great into every deck. It doesn't do a great deal into something like Mitsurugi for the most part, but it is not by no means a bad card. And one cool buy, because, yeah, it's cool buy, you know? No traps, as I've mentioned before, but I'll get onto the extra deck right now. Extra deck, so first off we have the purely Super Poly targets, which being Garura and Mudragon of the Swamp. I don't run Sea Monster of Theseus, because quite frankly I don't think you need it. I don't think it does enough in this deck, or any deck quite frankly. If you're playing into Cool Tune, they're going to see your hand and not give you 2 tuners. And that's fine, because they could give you a Synchro, and then you can still summon something like Chorozo or Zeroa. So that you have enough without that, without Sea Monster. On top of that, most of their Synchro summons that they're going to end on the field with, something like Remix and Zalen, for example, are both Dark Masters, so you can go with Mudragon instead. And this is just more generic and used against more things. So I actually do not like Sea Monster that much in this current format, because I just think that most Cool Tune players will know that you have it in your hand if you're trying to break their field, and will play around it. So I just don't think it's that good, or at least try to play around it, which is where Chorizo comes in, or Zeroa, because you just summon these instead. So they try to play around it, and in fact were punished for doing so, because they had a lesser field, and you actually get a decent card on the field, which either is a level 4 spellcaster, which you can Synchro summon with or XE summon with, or you have Zeroa, which is a negate and in itself can be a field breaker. So I personally don't like Sea Monster of Theseus. I have one. I don't intend to use it, quite frankly, ever at this point. I think it's kind of a trap card. Not a trap card. Not literally a trap card. I think the card is a bit of a trap that a lot of people fall into, and I just don't think it's that good personally. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's that good. On top of that, even if you have it going first, for example, if you have Sea Monster Theseus and Super Poly set going first, even if your opponent is going to just summon a monster, unless they specifically summon Q, they're not always going to have 2 tuners on the field for you to be able to do that with, or at least not straight away. And it could get to the point of they have like Rico and Mix, and then they summon one thing and then pop your spell and trap, which is Super Poly. So I simply don't think it's that good in this deck, or any deck for example. I don't think it's Sea Monster is needed. I think there are other targets which absolutely work better with this. That's just me. One Iwas, kind of a Super Poly target. It can be in the right circumstances, but mainly it's just like Disruption. It's very good. You also equip it to your Synchro Zero, which a lot of people have taken out or have just fully not used. I still like it for the most part. It's kind of your only grind game that you get with Magistus, and it's just not bad. Against certain decks, they just kind of can't play through that. Not great into Cool 2 necessarily, but something like Sky Striker, or maybe not, depending on their hand, like Malice, for example, can't play through it. If you go against a heavy fusion archetype, they struggle with it. It's not bad at all. I think it works very well, but I'll get to that in a minute. Only one Weaver. I was on 2 for a while. I would still like to find space for a second one, because again, I want that grind game from Weaver. It's a very good card, and when you summon it off of Instant Fusion or Metamorphosis, it's then kind of gone, for the most part, and usually it is. And if I could, I'd love to keep it. But yeah, I just don't have the room to play it too, unfortunately. But it is a fantastic card. I am still on 2 Teller. I did put this down to 1 when I was testing out the other version of the deck, which is like the Link 4 Charmer, the Summon Sorceress and Celine, all that sort of stuff, which, you know, searches Droll, searches Effect Veiler, searches Dimension Shift, what have you, you know. Again, like, you just lose your grind game. This card, it helps so much in the grind game, which I feel like you do need it too. If you are trying to simply FTK and just win then and there, sure, you don't need your second one. If your opponent doesn't lose to what you have set up, you lose yourself, because you just completely out yourself of resources, because you don't run as many Fairy Tail stuff. The Magistus stuff does not grind very well, and all you have left is 1 or 2 cards in the extra deck, which are going to be not that useful. I think that the grind game is much more useful for the cost of like 1, maybe 2 extra interactions on your end field, which you are not going to get to that often if you get like hand interaction and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions, but as you can tell, I just like my version of the deck. It works better for me. For some people, the heavy combo variant of the deck is going to work better for them. This works for me. That works for you. Wonderful. Anyway, 1 Zeroa. obviously an amazing card. It's not always good in every matchup, but it works very nicely. 1 Veram as your like equip, and it's also protection against certain stuff. 1 Ninaruru, it's your equip, and also it actually is not bad. You do summon this occasionally just to get into like an easy add Crowley back, summon Crowley, fusion summon, you know, so it's not bad. 1 Wiccat, again, I'd love to run 2 of this. I just don't, if I had the space, I'd run 2 just for the sake of being extra cautious about it being like stopped or about it being banished or what have you. But truly, you only need to resolve it once. And that's why I don't run 2, because as long as you resolve this once, you're fine, and you have all your resources available and ready, and in your graveyard, on your field, in your hand, they're there. So Wiccat, you only need to resolve the send 2 effect, or even send 1 effect if you need to, once, and then you're fine. And then it's just a matter of having it in graveyard to like bounce back and forth. Then it is 2 Artemis, because it's you need to as part of your like Spenta 1-card combo. It's kind of annoying to have to run 2, but that combo works so well with 2 that you kind of need to. And 1 Endymion, because it's honestly just a really good card actually. I like the card more and more the more I play. It's a very, very good card. And then side deck has also seen some changes. Not quite as, quite frankly, absurd as it was before. We have 3 copies of Meow still. This is a weird one. I don't think Meow is even that good into the current format. However, it is something I want to have prepared for just in case of Lunalight, because this card works very well into Lunalight, and I feel like it's one of those decks which no one's preparing for in the current format. Perhaps rightly so, because it does lose very hard into a lot of cool 2 matchups if they are able to play through the interruptions. But also, I just need to have something to be able to like slow them down and stop them somehow. And if I play against a Lunalight opponent who's not familiar with the matchup and doesn't read cards, I can win quite easily with Zeroa. If I summon Zeroa and they don't stop its effect to equip to itself, they can't win. Because I equip it with Iwas, it gets to 39, in which it gets over Lunalight, Lycodancer, and then the opponent cannot activate the effects of Lycodancer, because that effect is not affecting the card, it's affecting the opponent. So I still like Meows at the moment, purely for Lunalight matchup, and you know, the odd fringe case here and there. 3 Purelia. I don't need to explain that one. 1 Harpy's Feather Duster and 2 Lightning Storm. I think there are enough decks at the moment that rely more heavily on spells and traps that this is worth siding. I go back and forth on this a lot. I don't often side these in my, anywhere, but yeah, I think it's relevant enough at the moment. 1 Anti-Spell Fragrance. Yeah, you can run that going first. Striker and Mitsu are very big in the format, as is like Dooms, as is Archmage every now and then. I don't feel like I need to explain that one. It's just really good. Same for Rivalry. You can run it. Some decks don't play well into it. Works very well. 1 Solemn, and then 3 Solemn Accusation. Funny enough, I had a game on Wednesday where I decided for going first against Striker. I top-decked the Fusion spell, the Quick Play spell, a Droll, an Accusation, and a Judgment. So I set these 2 and passed. He normal summon Ray, a Judgment, he activate Engage, Accusation, get rid of all of those. I then top decked a Ghost spell. So I was like, you still win. So even though I did all that and I got rid of the Engages, I didn't win because he just normal summoned Ray. That was it. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame on that one. But yeah, that's the deck list, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys understand my feelings on the Magistus stuff. I don't, but for a moment, think that those cards are bad. I love those cards. I think that they are so powerful. Their magic is an insane card. The fact that it hadn't been used in anything before this is wild to me. I just detest having to run the brick that is Jenny alongside the brick you already have, which is Crowley, because Crowley is a brick in and of itself. So the deck just kind of becomes Brick City, which means that you're ending on your like not as powerful fields because you haven't been able to pop off as much as you wanted to. On top of that, the cards you might still have in hand or maybe were able to discard weren't non-engine, so you're actually kind of a lot weaker than you maybe started out as thinking you would be. And yeah, I don't know. It's if your opponent knows how to play around them, I feel like they're not bad and they are extra pushes, but I think Genia does that just as well. Maybe not just as well, but near enough as well. And it doesn't have the downsides that running their magic package does. And yeah, I think Genie is fantastic. I love that card. I think it solves a lot of issues the deck has. So that's my thoughts on the deck at the very least, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I was going to do some tests. You know what? I'm going to do a quick 1-card combo. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, I'll do. You know what? No, because if you go back and watch what I did before, it doesn't really change that much. It's just that you're looking for a way to get snow into graveyard. If you are, the only thing you're trying to do basically is you can search snow and then fuse with snow in hand, or you can send snow off a Wicket. That's it. As long as snow is in your graveyard at the end of your turn, that's the only thing you need to keep an eye out on the new combos. It's the same combo more or less. It's just that you're making sure this gets into your graveyard. That's all. And there's a few ways to do that. You can sort of go by based on whatever your hand is, because some hands you might already draw snow and then you just fuse with it and you're good to go. Some hands you might draw the spells that you normally dump to the graveyard, in which case you just send detach one, send snow, and then use the spells as you would normally. So it's kind of hand dependent, and you kind of need to sort of feel it out as you go. But yeah, as long as you can get snow into the graveyard, you're good to go, and it's there and you're ready, you know. Yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. Hope you've enjoyed that. I am still loving this deck. I'm excited to see how it will change with the Endymion stuff. I wonder myself, how will I change it? Will I do much more? Will I massively change the build, or will I just add a few bits? Don't know. I'm going to find out. It'll be exciting to see. Pleasure as always, everyone. Quick announcement as well. I'm going to be at the UK Games Expo next weekend. So today is Friday. So I think Comic-Con's on actually as of recording this, but it's next weekend at the NEC is the UK Games Expo. So yeah, I'll see you guys there. I hope you guys have a wonderful time. Hope to see you at the Games Expo, and then 2 weeks after that is Nationals, which I'm commentating. Also the NEC. Can't wait to see you all there. Have a wonderful time, everyone. We'll see you very soon. Take care. Much love. Bye-bye.